Sometimes a community's entire future can come down to just one number. Seriously, today we're diving into a single, really powerful statistic that might just be the key to keeping a language and a culture alive for generations. So let's get into it.
So think about this for a second. How does a culture actually stay vibrant? It's a huge question, right? Especially when you're talking about a minority language group. It's not just about, traditions and holidays. It's about having enough people to keep things going, like schools, hospitals, and businesses all operating in that language. It's about actually hearing it spoken on the street every day.
Well, this exact challenge is something that Manitoba's French-speaking community is looking at, like right now. We're talking about the Franco-Manitoban community, a group that's been a cornerstone of the province for centuries. And what's really interesting is that they're turning to cold, hard data to figure out how to protect their future.
Okay, so at the heart of all this is one key question. As the province's overall population grows, how do they make sure their community doesn't get, smaller in comparison? Because if Manitoba as a whole is getting bigger, but the number of Francophones stays the same, they start to lose ground. And that affects everything, from getting services in French to just the overall feel and life of the culture.
So to really get what's at stake here, we need to wrap our heads around a concept called demographic weight. It sounds a little academic, but I promise it's pretty straightforward. Let's break it down.
Okay, so demographic weight isn't about the raw number of people. It's all about the percentage, the proportion. The easiest way to think about it is like a pie. Let's say you have a slice. If the whole pie gets bigger, your slice has to get bigger too, just to stay the same percentage of the whole pie. Make sense?
And that's exactly what's happening here. The big circle, that's the total population of Manitoba. And that little slice, that's the Francophone community. Now, if that whole circle expands but the slice stays the exact same size, its demographic weight drops. And when that happens, its influence, its voice in the province, can start to feel a lot quieter.
So what do you do about it? Well, the community isn't just sitting back and hoping things work out. Nope, a brand new study points to a really clear solution. And it all comes down to immigration.
And look, this isn't just some random idea they pulled out of thin air. It's backed by serious research. A study came out from the Francophone Immigration Network of Manitoba, which is basically a group dedicated to this exact issue. They really dug into the numbers to find a solid, tangible goal that could actually make a difference.
Now, what's so cool about this study is that it doesn't just point out the problem. It gives a precise, totally actionable solution. It all boils down to one single number, a number that could literally change everything for the community's future. Yep, this study zeroed in on the exact target they need to hit. It's the minimum they need to make sure their community's voice stays just as strong decades from now as it is today. And that number is 7%. That's it, 7%. It sounds simple, but there is a really powerful strategy behind it. So what exactly does this 7% mean?
Okay, here's the breakdown. The recommendation is that 7% of all immigrants coming to Manitoba should be Francophone. This is the key part. The goal isn't to grow their share of the population. It's just to maintain it, to hold the line. It's a strategy for stability while the whole province around them is growing.
And this 7% target, it's not just some quick fix for next year. No, this is part of a much bigger, long-term vision. They're playing the long game here, with a clear deadline in mind. You can really see the path forward here. So today, we have the study that identifies the 7% target. The next step, the action, is to actually put that target into the province's immigration plans. And the payoff? Well, the goal is that by 2046, the Franco-Manitoban community's demographic weight will be successfully maintained, securing their vitality for a whole new generation.
So when you step back and look at the whole picture, what you're really seeing is how powerful a data-driven plan can be. This is a community using numbers not just to point out a problem, but to build a real proactive roadmap to protect its own cultural future. It's pretty inspiring.
This whole plan out of Manitoba is a really powerful example. And it makes you wonder, right? Could this kind of data-first approach be a blueprint for other minority cultures, not just in Canada, but around the world, to secure their own futures? It's definitely something to think about. Thanks so much for tuning in.